Today, let's start with the object identification part. Right, I'll create a new Java project known as day 4 and enable Selenium in it, add the jar files. Okay, now suppose I have a basic Selenium program. Okay, basic Selenium, and I simply write the code, that is WebDriver equals to new Chrome driver and driver dot get go to any URL. Fine. So suppose hold on. Suppose you have to go to a URL and enter user ID and password with the Selenium code. Okay. So suppose you have to go to zoho.com, and over here you have to click on sign in, and maybe on this page you have to enter the email ID, click on the next button. So how will you do this? Okay, so suppose you have to go to this particular web page.
Sorry, Ashish.
Yeah,
Hello. Ashish, I'm not able to see your screen. Are you sharing the screen?
yes. Hold on, let me unshare it and share it again.
Okay.
I'll share my screen again. Right, I've shared the screen again, and
Yeah, now we are able to see it.
okay. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that you open Chrome and you go to a certain website. Okay, which is this particular website. And suppose over here you have to interact with the elements on the web page. You have to enter the user ID, password, and all everything. So how do you do that? Fine. Well, uh, the thing is, if you understand it correctly, then hold on. I'll create an Excel file. Just a minute. Yeah. So look, we have to understand what are the types of elements on a web page we will be interacting with. Okay, like for example, I'll make this file element. Okay, what are the elements on the web page with which you need to interact? Fine. You have got text fields, generally write buttons, checkboxes. You have radio buttons, right? You have links, you have images, you have drop downs, you have the regular text on the web page, which is the static text, right? And majorly, these are the components with which you have to interact on a web page. Okay, now how Selenium works? How will Selenium go and identify a certain element and interact with it? First of all, Selenium works on the page source. Okay, if you right click on the page, you'll get the option to view the page source. Okay, you click on this and you can see This is the HTML page source of this website. A page source is nothing but combination of tags and attributes. Okay, whatever starts with a conical bracket is known as a tag. A tag can have zero to many attributes. Like this is a division tag, div tag, which has got the attribute class. Okay, this is the span tag, which has the attribute ID. A tag can have zero to many attributes. Okay, this span tag has the attribute ID. This div tag has the attribute class. Okay, this input tag has the attribute class, another attribute ID, and another attribute type. If you have any questions, then let me know. Okay, so over here, how Selenium works is on this page source. Okay, for example, this is a text box. You right click on the text box on the web page, right, and you inspect it. You select the option inspect. So you will see a window opening up. This window is known as Chrome Inspector. Okay, right click, inspect, this window will open, and in this window the code for the element which you want to select gets highlighted. This is the HTML code for this input box, or you can click on this arrow icon and move your mouse over the element and the code for that element will be highlighted. Okay, so the tag name for this element is input and it's got many attributes like ID, placeholder, and many other attributes. Okay, so with the help of these tags and attributes, you actually go and identify the elements. If I have to investigate any element, I can right click on it and select the option inspect and see this is the span tag whose okay, the text is next. Fine. So the next text is visible over here on the button. If I change this to say my name, so you will see that my name will come on the button. Right. So this is the pure HTML code. Right. Now, um, if you look at some other browser, okay, like you look at Mozilla 1 minute. If you look at Mozilla, then on Mozilla also, you have the option to inspect. Okay, you go to any website, right, like CNN.com, right? And if you right click on it and you inspect the element. Okay, so the element will be highlighted in the page source. The page source of a website, okay, remains the same across all the browsers. Page source is actually the response from the server. Okay, so whether it is Mozilla or Chrome, okay, all the websites open the same way in all the browsers. So the page source remains the same. The elements they remain the same. Okay, right. So now every element has a particular tag name. So this is the element and every element will have a tag name. Okay, like for example, Just a minute. You have over here, this is the tag name for the input field. The tag name is input. It starts with the conical bracket. Fine. And every element will have some mandatory attributes which will always be there with it. Okay. And there will be some optional attributes. With the help of tag name, mandatory attribute and optional attribute, we go and identify the elements on the web page. Okay, right. For example, for text fields, the tag name is input. In case of buttons, fine. Like you have this button, the tag name is button. Or sometimes the tag name is also input. Okay. And in case of checkboxes, right, there's no checkbox here. So yeah, this is the checkbox. In case of checkboxes, the tag name is input. Okay. In case of radio buttons also, the tag name is input. In case of links, if you investigate any link, right, this is the link. The tag name is anchor tag A. For images, the tag name is IMG. For a drop down, it is select. Okay, like for example, if you go to say our website only qtpselenium.com, and if you go to contact us section, you will see a drop down. If you investigate this drop down, the tag name for a drop down is always select. Okay, and for the regular text on the web page, okay, the regular text you cannot quantify it. Sometimes it is division, sometimes it is span, um, sometimes it is you cannot quantify it. Para tag. Okay. There is no specific tag name for the regular text which is present on the web page. Okay. So these are the different tag names of different elements which you will have to interact with. And along with it, every element has few mandatory as well as optional attributes. Okay. Like for example, if you talk about a text box, the tag name is input. And in case of a text box, you will always find the type attribute. Okay, type is equal to text makes it text box. This will always be there. Okay, that's how a text field is made. In case of a button, the type becomes submit, or sometimes the type is also button. Fine. So the type attribute is always there. Type equals to submit makes it a text field. Type equals to sorry, the button type equals to text makes it a text field. In case of a checkbox, then the tag name is again input, but the type attribute would be equal to checkbox. Like over here, we saw that checkbox side, right? If you look at this checkbox, the type equals to checkbox. thing makes it a checkbox. Okay, radio buttons. In case of a radio button type is equal to radio. Okay, in case of links, you will always find an attribute in every link, whichever link you see, you will find an attribute href. The href hyperreference, this attribute points towards the URL which will open when you click on the link. Okay, so in case of a link, you will always find this attribute href. Okay, in case of an image, like this is an image. No, this is not an image. This is an image. Okay, image will always have the attribute source, which will point towards the URL. Okay, the image will always have an attribute source, which will point towards this is the URL from which the image loads. Okay, see this? Okay, so this is the source attribute in case of an image. In case of drop down, there is no mandatory attribute, and in case of text also, there is no mandatory attribute. And there are three optional attributes which might be or might not be present with every element. It's not mandatory that these three will be present, but if these three are present, then identifying the elements, it becomes easy. ID, name or class. These are the three optional attributes which we always look for. Okay, if you are able to find them, then your work becomes easy. Okay, like for example, we saw this Zoho.com website. Over here, we have this text field. Text field has an ID, login underscore ID. Okay, since it is having the attribute ID, it will be very easy to identify the element with Selenium. Okay, now how do we write the Selenium code? Let's talk about that. If you go to the official website of Selenium, that is selenium.dev, and you open the documentation. Right. Over here, hold on. We saw yesterday that WebDriver is an interface. This is an interface that will control the browsers, user agents or browsers. Okay. Similarly, there is an interface known as web element. A web element interface represents a general HTML element. Technically, in Selenium, all these elements are known as web elements. Okay, they fall under web elements. Okay, a button is a web element, checkbox is a web element, and this interface web element.
Ashish,
Yes,
what is an interface?
I told yesterday actually. I think you were not there. It's something
Oh,
which gives an idea about the system, that what the system is all about. Okay,
okay,
like
I will. I'll
Yeah.
go through the sessions.
Yeah,
Right.
go through the yesterday's video. Like you sometimes you go to a restaurant and you order a menu, right? Order from the a la carte menu. So that a la carte menu is like an interface for you, which tells you that find what the restaurant is offering. So similarly, there is an interface in Selenium, interface web element, and in this interface, you have got functions which will help you to interact with the elements on the web page. Like you have the click function, which will click on a text field or a button or anywhere. Clear, which will clear the value of a text field. Okay, and get size, get the text, is displayed, is enabled, submit. So these are the general functions. Send keys is used to simulate typing into an text field or something into the element. Okay, so how do we use this web element? All right, now over here, after going to this URL, you write the command driver dot find element. The find element function inside WebDriver helps you to find a web element by a certain criteria. Okay, how do you want to find the element? There are different strategies or criterias with which you can find a web element. Okay, those are defined by a class known as by class in Selenium. Okay, by what criteria you want to, by the ID, by the link text, by the name, partial link text, tag name. XPath is there. We'll see that when we'll also see something known as CSS selectors. Okay, by the CSS selector, by the class name. So there are different strategies. Okay, this by class has got mechanisms used to locate the element within a document. Document means a web page. Okay, in our case, we are going to Zoho and we have the ID of the element. Okay, login underscore ID. So we'll write by everything in this class is static. You can directly use it by the class name, by the ID login ID. Okay, so there are different locator strategies by the class name, CSS, ID, link text, name. Okay, which you can use. And this command will go and find the element on the web page. And it will return you a web element interface reference. I just told you a web element. Okay, you call it username. So it finds the element on the web page and returns you the web element corresponding to the element, and you can now use that web element. You can write web element dot send key. Send key is basically types into a text field. Okay, and you type hello. So when you run this code, you'll see that the browser opens and it goes and types hello inside this text field. Now suppose you have to click on this particular button. This is a button whose ID is next button. Okay, so you can write a similar piece of code. You can write driver dot find element by the ID. This is the button. And what do you want to do with the button? You want to click on it. So a driver dot find element will always return you a web element. And then you fire the web element function. Again, I go back to the documentation. The web element. Uh-oh. The web element interface Yeah, has got functions, clear, click, which will help you interact with the elements on the browser. Like we used the send keys function, use this method to simulate typing into the element. Okay, so now if you run this code, right? So it types hello, right? And it also clicks on the next button and it writes your account is not active. Anyone with any questions, anything? Anyone with any questions?
What if there are no web element? I mean, there is no identifiers.
Yeah, then we have got other criterias like we have got CSS selectors, XPaths. I'll tell you. Not every element, of course, has an ID. Or, uh, in our case, if you look at the username field, it's got this ID. It's also got an attribute name. Name is in the uppercase, login underscore ID. So name is also a good thing. Okay, if you have a name, you can also use by dot name function over here. Okay, and provide the name. So if an element has an ID or a name, it's really easy to identify and find that element. Okay, you see that it works. Right, it submitted the form. However, sometimes, I told you the optional attributes, ID, name, class. An element has a class as well. Class is something which, with time you'll understand it's not unique for an element. Okay, if an element is having a class attribute, it doesn't mean that it should be unique. There are other elements on the page which can have the same class, like this is the class attribute. There are other elements as well which can have the same class. Okay, so don't rely on class. But yes, ID or name, they are quite unique. But yes, sometimes, some developers put duplicate IDs as well. Now, what if there are two elements on the web page which have the same ID? And you give this command driver.find element by the ID, or they have the same name you give by the name, then, it should not happen first of all. If it is happening, then what will happen is that, Selenium, when it scans the web page, it goes from the left to the right side and goes to the bottom. Scans the web page like this. If there are two elements on the web page, one is over here and one is say over here, which have the same ID, then Selenium will use the first one. Driver.find element command, it uses the first element. What if you have to use the second one? I will tell you there are ways to do that in the coming classes. I'm going to tell you that. So basically driver.find element will find the first element it finds with the given criteria. Okay, it will use the first element. Okay, now at times, um, you are actually over here writing two lines of code to interact with a single element on the web page. Okay, this is the username element and this is the button element. You are writing two lines of codes to interact with one element. Instead of this, at times, we just write one line. You can remove this and remove this and directly write dot click. Okay, so what happens is that the execution starts from left to right. First, the web element is extracted. Okay, and then on that, the click function is fired. And similarly for the password, you don't need to write 2 lines. You just need to write 1 line. So to interact with one element, you write 1 line. First, you find the element, the web element, the highlighted portion at runtime will be the web element. And on that web element, you fire the function. Okay. Now, what if the element with the given ID is not found? If I put an X over here and if I run this code, you will see that you will get an exception. The exception is hold on, unable to locate the element. No such element exception. So no such element exception is one of the exceptions in Selenium, which is fired when the element is not found. And it always gives you the line number as well. If you scroll down, you see basic Selenium line number 14. You click on the line number, this line number will be highlighted. Element could not be found on this line. But you see that when you run the program, the exception is thrown immediately within a fraction of a second. Sometimes, you know, you would want that fine element is loading. You want Selenium to wait for say 5 seconds for the element to be visible and interactable on the web page. Okay, so in that case, at times people use the command thread.sleep for 5000 milliseconds. Thread.sleep basically means pause the program. So this command, it mandatorily pauses the program for 5 seconds. Okay, when you run this code, you will see that the error will not be thrown immediately. Okay, it will be thrown after 5 seconds. You see that it comes up now. Right, but this is not the right solution because suppose the element becomes visible and interactable in the second or in the first second or in the third second, then you will be mandatorily pausing the program for 5 seconds, which is not good. Okay, that is why we have something known as implicit wait in Selenium. Okay, implicit wait is a global timeout. Okay, whenever you launch the browser, go to a website or something, after that, or rather immediately, the good practice is immediately after launching the browser, you define your implicit wait. You tell that driver dot, this is the command, manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait duration dot, hold on, duration dot of seconds 10. So this basically means I am putting an implicit wait of 10 seconds. If an element is not found on the web page, uh, sorry, first of all, this command is valid to all driver.findElement commands. Okay, implicit wait it is applicable to all the driver.find element commands which are there in the program. If there are 100 driver.find element commands, it is applicable for to all of them. And the most important thing is it is a dynamic wait. What do you mean by dynamic wait? It basically tells that if the element is not found, Selenium will keep on finding that element for 10 seconds before throwing the error. But if the element is found in the third second, then Selenium will use it and move forward. It will dynamically wait. Okay, it will keep on polling the web page for 10 seconds. As soon as the element becomes visible, it will move forward. It will not wait for 10 seconds. Thread.sleep was like simply pausing the program. Implicit wait is not pausing the program. Okay, and it is applicable to all driver.find element commands. So if you run this now, of course, this will wait till 10 seconds because I've given a wrong ID. You see that after 10 seconds throws the error. No, hold on. Let me run this again. You see that after 10 seconds to throw the exception. At times there are elements on the web page which take time to be present on the web page. Okay, so implicit wait helps us in that. Okay, so this is quite important. Implicit wait. Always remember, always put a habit that whenever you open a browser, after that you give this global timeout and your work will be very easy. At times, a lot of times people come to us and tell us that my program is not working, the element is not getting identified. Okay, they have not specified implicit wait. Look, the execution speed of Selenium is very fast. It is faster than the normal human being. Okay, you open this website, Selenium will open in a fraction of a second, and as soon as it opens, within fraction of a second, it will try to hit this element. Sometimes the elements they take 1 second or something to actually load after the web page has loaded, a time frame which cannot be seen by the human eye. Okay, so for that thing, this thing helps us a lot. And when you come across those kind of errors, you really don't know what is the error, and then you put the implicit wait and everything becomes normalized. Okay, so please keep your habit of defining an implicit wait after opening the browser and then performing all the operations. Okay,
Ashish, that thread dot sleep is for particular element. It,
thread.sleep is not for any element or something. This program will stop on this line for 5 seconds. That's it. Or no matter what you have written after it or before it.
okay. Okay.
Okay, it will simply pause the program for 5 seconds.
Oh, okay, fine.
It is not a bad thing to use thread.sleep. I also use it at times, but in
Mm,
a 50-50 line code, if you are using it for 15 times or 20 times, then it creates a
mm,
problem. Once
mm.
or twice you use thread.sleep, it's not a problem. That's okay. That's not a
Okay,
problem.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So, right. All right. Now, out here, this is good. Fine. Now, at times all elements will not have ID or a name. Like, for example, you look at this sign in text. You inspect it. Luckily, it has an ID. But what if it is not having an ID? Then there are other mechanisms like CSS selector is there, XPath is there, and we'll study about it. Okay, to identify this particular element on the web page. Okay, and the most important thing is if I run the same script on Firefox, the same script, if I just create object of Firefox driver, the same script will run on Firefox as well without any issues. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'll just correct this X. Okay. Because the underlying page source, I think my Firefox has updated itself. All right. Yes, it has. I need to update the exe. Okay. Let me run it again. Yeah, it's running now. Yeah. So you see the same thing works over here as well.
Ashish, just a question. So whenever there is a version, the browser version updates, what do we need to do? So just because I know that in
You
file.
need to update the exes. There are
So we
browser exes,
uh-huh.
okay, provided by every browser provider which Selenium uses. Like I have them over here, okay, which you give in the path of your environment variables. When you watch day 2, you will understand you need to update these exe files.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Right now, hold on. Yeah, if you change the browser, the same script executes on the other browser as well. Because the page source remains the same, the IDs they remain the same, the name it remains the same. Okay, and that is the advantage. And the code which I told you yesterday that you write this kind of a code to dynamically open the browser, you can also put it over here. So you just need to change the browser name, and based on the selection of the browser, that particular browser Edge will open and it will go to the website. Hold on. Yeah, it'll go to the, there is some issue. I think I need to restart my PC. There are lots of things like SOAP UI and Android Studio. Lots of things are running right now over here. Okay, so but this thing will work. Okay, now the important thing or the look, the thing which you should be knowing is that how do you use the other locators like the XPath? XPath is like the address of the element on the web page or CSS selector. So that's the next thing. I will not discuss that today. Okay, because I need continuous 1 hour to discuss XPaths and other stuff. Okay, I know it's time, no time is not left, but I won't discuss this today. And from next class, I'll start giving you exercises as well. All right. Now, anybody having any questions, anything? I'll stop here Okay, because of course to teach you X paths and all, I will need time.